Hey, what's up, people? How are you all doing today? Today, we are going to be doing how to draw gestural animal drawings. And if you want to learn how to turn your artistic weakness into your strength, definitely check out our website at artprof.org, where we have lots of free resources, tutorials, critiques, art dares, and all that good stuff. So, Clara, why don't we get started with the drawings? What are we gonna do?
Yeah. What are we going to start with? I really want to draw the pig so bad. So okay. I think we should do the pig.
All right, we'll do the pig. And I'm going to be doing something a little different today, guys. I'm going to be drawing on the Cintiq. I'm not doing the iPad today. So we'll see how that all goes.
By the way, we also want to say thank you very much to WACOM for providing the Cintiq that Jordan is going to be drawing on today. And Jordan, can you tell everybody which Cintiq you're using and what a Cintiq is for people who don't know?
Okay, so I'm using the Cintiq 22 inch, and it's basically an additional monitor for your computer that you can draw on. So similar to how on our draw alongs where I'll be drawing on the iPad, that's exactly what this is. It's meant specifically for drawing. You have your own little special pen that they give you, and I'm also using Photoshop for this. And yeah, that's just how we're gonna do it today. So
wait, is it like a big iPad?
It's like it's a big screen that you can draw on. This thing is, let me see. It's like this big. It's 22 inches, so I have a whole surface. So I guess you can call it like a big iPad, but I don't know if you can necessarily call it like a tablet the same way, but just because of the functionality. But yeah, it's pretty sizable. It's really awesome, and it's a really good tool for professional artists and amateur artists to use if you want.
So technically, it's a monitor?
Yeah, it's a monitor that you draw on. Sometimes there are times where I want to watch a movie or something, and I'll put it on the Cintiq screen. And
really?
Yeah, that actually happened last night. I was watching a movie, and I just did that. So yeah, sometimes it works very well, but the whole point is to draw and do art on it. So you can use any software you want. It comes, like I said, it comes with a pen. And all you have to do is just calibrate it, get your color set up. I didn't really have to do that for this, though. I felt like the color was matching pretty well when I started, so I wasn't really worried about that. And then just go in your favorite program and you're good to go.
And what program are you using today?
Right now I'm using Adobe Photoshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm curious for people who are watching right now, how many of you have used the Cintiq before? How do you like it? And how many of you are dreaming of a Cintiq? Because they're not cheap.
Yeah, I remember I first heard of a Cintiq when I was 15, and I wanted it for years and years, and because I could never afford one. And it wasn't until I got to grad school that I was able to afford my first Cintiq that was a hand-me-down from someone else, and now there's this one. So yeah, it's been a long journey, but I'm finally glad I get to use it. So thank you, WACOM. You guys are awesome.
I mean, I find the iPad super convenient, but I'm somebody who doesn't draw small very well. And so even on the iPad, I feel very constricted. So I feel like the Cintiq will really help with that.
Yeah, it definitely has. The iPad, it definitely has its benefits and its drawbacks. For people who are used to drawing bigger, definitely the Cintiq gets way bigger than the 12-inch iPad screen. And then just the programs themselves can hold more than an app like Procreate, which is probably the most popular drawing app. And so the size of your files and what you can do is much more substantial. But it varies from artist to artist and what they do. Like I said, I use both. You guys have seen me do that plenty of times.
Wait, are you saying that in Photoshop you can have more layers than in Procreate?
Yeah, you can have way more layers. Might make your computer run slow, but you can have an infinite number, basically, as long as the computer can handle it. With Procreate, there's a limit. You can only have, I don't know, depending on the size of your canvas, you could have like 27 layers or 48 layers or 200 layers. It just depends. We usually don't run into those issues here on the streams, though.
Well, why doesn't Procreate change it? Like, is it a power issue?
I think it's more of a hardware issue. I just don't think the iPad can handle it. I don't think that's something that that Procreate is able to control right now, but who knows? In the future, it might not be that way. But based on their track record being so solid, I think they're probably going to find a way to do that soon.
Lisa says, I've heard of WACOM, but not, am I saying that right? Is it WACOM? I thought it was WACOM.
It's interchangeable. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure. I say WACOM, WACOM. I might switch them in this video. I'm not even sure sometimes.
So Lisa says, I've heard of WACOM, but not Cintiq. I'm bad with names. But the Cintiq is a type of tablet that WACOM sells, right?
Yeah, WACOM is the company or the business. Cintiq is the product that they sell.
Elisa says, my roommate rented one from our school and let me use it. I've dreamed of it ever since. So what is the big fuss, Jordan? Because everybody's like, ooh, Cintiq, but what's so great about it?
Oh, man. So first off, we talked about earlier, it's a big screen to draw on. I think everyone kind of is excited to draw on something that's just bigger than a regular piece of paper, or and then just the potential that you can do with it. Like, this is a professional artist tool, so people who work on our favorite movies and video games and, stuff like that, or just digital paintings, they often use a Cintiq. So it's a highly professional tool. And it's just gotten better with time. Like they keep updating, they keep leveling up, and it's just really, really exciting to see. So, the screen gets slightly more textured for when you want it to feel like a pencil, or a piece of paper. There's, all the apps that you have access to. You could do 3D modeling with it. It's just, there's a lot.
And it feels like the iPad only does a fraction of what the Cintiq can do.
Yes and no. There are programs that are available to do the same type of stuff. It's just oftentimes it might be slightly more limited because of the hardware. It might be, it's definitely a smaller screen. The largest size that I know of is 12.9 inch, which is about half the size of what I'm currently drawing on. So it just depends on your preference. Like, some people don't even like drawing big. Some people like drawing really small, and which I don't fully understand, but it's just how people are sometimes. And it's like, all right, well, cool. I personally enjoy the space, though. I like having this big size.
Trent says, I have a Hulon canvas, which is a pretty good alternative for those with less of a budget. Yeah, it's nice to know that there are many options.
Yeah, and also the other thing, one of the things with WACOMs, they were one of the first ones, if not the first, to create a tablet like this. And so that's why that's one of the reasons why their name is so big. And they kind of had a monopoly for quite a while. But then you have Huon tablets, you have the iPad coming out, and so that it's causing a little bit of competition. But a lot of people still really like WACOM Cintiqs because they're probably the most, if not one of the most trusted brands. So, yeah.
Well, I have not opened my Cintiq yet. It's still in the box. And yes, there will be an unboxing video. Somebody told me in the Discord to do one. So I did not rip mine open like a monster the way Deepti and Jordan and Kat did. You guys were a little excited, so.
I was excited, but I was very gentle, and I still have the box. It's nice and intact. It's just got some strands of tape that have been kind of torn off. That's all.
But here's the thing. I have a little WACOM, one that's like 16, And I have to say, even with the paper-like screen protectors that you can get for the iPad, I just like the feel of the Cintiq Surface way more. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I agree. I actually had an issue with the iPad when I was first drawing on it because it was so slick, and and it actually kind of started to mess up my wrist a little bit because I was kind of going like all the time, and it felt like I didn't have as much control. But with the textured screen of the Cintiq, it's already built in to feel a lot more. I don't want to say sturdy, but there's not as much of a slippery edge to it. Um, so yeah.
But also the stylus is different than the Apple Pencil. And the Apple Pencil, for me, it's just a little bit too rigid. Like the Wacom one, it has a little bit of bounce that I happen to like a lot.
Yeah, here I'll give you guys a bit of a closer look of where's the camera. This is what the pen looks like for the Wacom, and if I don't know if you can really see it, but it does kind of give a little bit when you press down on it. So um, yeah, it just it feels really good, and yeah, I think Wacom is doing a really great job. They have excellent products, so it's yeah. I mean. Yeah.
We have a comment from Rachel who says, "What's the pricing? I find it ironic how much artists have to pay to quote create, and yet so many people still want free art as if we live on air with no expenses." No, we live on exposure, right, Jordan?
Oh
I'll
my
give you
God.
exposure.
Yeah, I feel like I just got an email about exposure like the other day. I was like, no, I'm good. Oh, I know what it was. Someone, I think I saw this on Instagram where it was like, you can pay us $7 and we'll post your work on our platform on Instagram. And it's like,
What?
why? Like that's what I have my own platform for. Like, what is the point? So yeah.
That's super dumb. Well, Rachel, if you want to look up the pricing, we do have a link to the specific Cintiq that Jordan is using in the video description below that you can all take a look at. I mean, yeah, it's not cheap, but it seems like it's a pretty major investment. And I mean, how long can you have one? Do they last a while?
They last long. The one that I replaced this Cintiq with is at least 10 years old and it was working fine. There was a little scratch on it from, yeah, there was like a little minor scratch on it because it was a hand-me-down, use and stuff, but they work really well. They're very sturdy. So yeah, there are professional artists who are using it 15, 20 years later. So it's definitely an investment. If it hurts in the moment, but it's not a bad call. Not a bad call.
But if you think about, let's say you're an oil painter, think about how much you pay for oil paints over 10 years. It's probably more than a Wacom tablet.
Yeah, definitely. I remember my first day of oil painting class in my sophomore year at RISD. I spent $400 at once just buying the oil paints, not even the stuff for the rest of my class. And that hurt a lot, especially because I didn't have a job at that point. That was painful. But yeah.
So Jordan, I'm going to move on to the capybaras.
Oh, okay. Oh, as you're doing that, I did want to bring up something. I didn't show it very much now, but sometimes what I do when I'm drawing animals or just anything in general, I'll put a reference photo of like the anatomy on my canvas, and so I can refer to that as reference while I draw, and it helps me to match the anatomy a lot better. So, a little tip for y'all.
See, I was telling Jordan earlier, I feel like a moron that I never did that. Like, that makes so much sense. Why did I never think to do that with an animal drawing? Because I do that with human figures. I don't know. It just never occurred to me, I guess.
Well, now you can. Now you can do it. So.
Well, but where did you pick up that tip from?
I mean, I guess I could say grad school, but the thing is, I've always kind of thought to do stuff like that. Like, it just makes sense, It's like, why make it harder on myself? There's no way I know what everything looks like at the same time. I don't have a photographic memory like that. So why not have a reference? Why not look at something that is useful, you know?
Well, so what is something that you see in the chart that maybe you don't see in the reference photos, which, by the way, are from this awesome Animals in Motion book by Edward Newbridge?
So what is it that I see in like the anatomy drawings you said?
Yeah, like the anatomical chart, like is there stuff in there that maybe is harder to see in the photo?
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes the photos are very small, or they're low res, or just the lighting, it makes it difficult to see. So sometimes it makes it easier if I understand what's going on underneath the skin, because let's say there's a particular muscle fold that I don't understand. It makes it a lot easier when I can look at something and be like, oh, that must be this right here. This must be the, abdominal muscle. This must be the, brachio, whatever muscle, and I feel like a lot of my issues are solved when I can identify what the problem is or what I'm not understanding.
So this is a comment from Maria, who says, when it comes to drawing animals, if it's one I'm not familiar with, I have to watch it move, see videos or GIFs, or else I can't crack what I'm seeing. That is such a good point, Maria. And that's why this Newbridge book is brilliant, because you do get to see the actual movements. Because a lot of the times, if you see a photo of a bird online, it's usually not a bird in the middle of the motion, or you can't see the before and after poses. Like, this is so cool because you can just literally track the action of the dog. I mean, this is an amazing resource, if you ask me.
Yeah, honestly, guys, any anatomy book or reference book that you can get for whatever you're drawing is going to be worth it for you, because unless there's some sort of radioactive disaster that changes the entire look of every species under the sun at once, it's going to be useful to you no matter what, so I really think it's going to be beneficial for you guys.
You don't think it'll be evolution, Jordan, that does that?
I said at once.
Maybe the nuclear thing will take less time.
Maybe, but my question would be if they survived after that. But anyway, chances are animals are going to look the same for the most part throughout our lifetime. So having a reference book, I think, is going to be really good for you guys.
Mike says, just logged on. Cute capybaras. Who here has seen one in real life? Have you seen one, Jordan?
I didn't even know that's what they were called until about 4 minutes before the stream.
When I was in Boston, we always used to go to Franklin Park Zoo, and they always had a capybara there. And they really look like just big guinea pigs. It's hilarious.
That's the best. That's so cool. They're really fun looking. They're like a mixture between guinea pigs and like beavers in the face.
Well, I sort of mangled this one, but whatever. They're just gesture drawings. The nice thing about quick drawings is if you make one that looks really wonky, you just move on. Because sometimes if you're doing a longer painting, it's easy to get upset or picky because you've been working on it for a while. But these, it's so easy to just, I don't know, sort of like speed dating.
Yeah, and for those of you who were on last week or a couple days ago when we did the 2500 stream, that's exactly what I was talking about. Because when you work hours and hours on something, it's hard to let it go. But when it's a 4 or 5, 6 minute drawing and you screw up, you're like, it is what it is. I'll move on and do better next time. Makes life easier.
Well, don't you have a limit on the 2500? Don't you say like 10 minutes per drawing?
Yeah, 5 to 10 minutes. And most times it's closer to 10. But yeah, about 10 minutes. And it just makes things so much easier. And it also forces me to see the very basic shapes of certain things. So I'm not spending my time, worrying about the details that don't matter.
And we have a question from Ariel, who says, Clara, how do you draw so fast while you're talking? My brain would stall. It's just so much practice. I mean, Jordan, we've logged so many hours drawing live, and it took us a while to get good at it. This is not, we didn't just show up and be able to do it. I mean, we did a lot of bad videos.
Yeah. It's not easy. Here's the thing. If that's something that you really want to do for some reason, you just kind of have to let it happen naturally. The more skill you have, the easier it gets, because you're not thinking as hard. But as a learning artist, I wouldn't recommend doing too many things at once. Just lose focus that way sometimes.
Although I will say that when I'm on a stream drawing with somebody, it's a lot easier because when Jordan's blabbing his mouth off, I can just relax and draw.
Blabbing my mouth off, huh? Oh, wow. Okay. We'll see how much I talk now.
Ouch!
I'm gonna leave it all to you, Claire. You don't get anything done.
Oh, thanks. Now I have to work hard because of you.
Precisely.
I'm gonna fix my light. I can see that my lighting's a little funky on the right-hand side. All right, that's probably better. Jazz says, capybaras broke out of their enclosure in Toronto, Canada a few years ago and were on the lam for months running around the city. Many sightings, but nobody could catch them.
That's hilarious.
Oh, dear.
It sounds like the Gremlins or something.
Angie says, my crappiest drawings are some of my favorites because they have personality. I agree. Sometimes when things look too good, they're almost artificial looking. And at least I find with nature likes things that are imperfect and wonky, and I love it.
I just like doing good drawings. So for me, it bothers me when I know something is wrong. And I'm like, a lot of it is kind of self-inflicted too. I admit that, but yeah.
Jordan, you never showed up at art school with a crappy drawing and tried to pass it off as, well, I was just trying to feel the motion and just let myself be carried along by the drawing, and I was just really in the moment.
I always wanted to do that, but I can't make up crap like that so easily. It's just, that takes a lot of brain power for me to think that way. And I've seen people do it though, and it works depending on who the teacher is.
Oh, it totally can work. There was somebody in my grad school who cried such a river at their final review. And I knew it was all crap because we had watched this person not do anything and put everything off for so long. And the teachers fell for it. They were all like, oh, don't worry. It's okay. You did a good job. And that's just so annoying.
Yeah, it really makes you question the integrity when stuff like that starts happening, because if you don't hold people to a standard, then it's going to be real easy to be taken advantage of.
Cass says, I sometimes draw while on a call with a friend. I gradually fall silent when I get into focus, and they end up thinking that I've fallen asleep.
I know that place. I've actually fallen asleep on people on the phone before, though.
That's because you have like magical sleeping powers, Jordan.
I do, but there were times where I was also super tired. Sorry, Mom, I'm gonna say it. I've fallen asleep with my mom a couple times because I was so exhausted, and she's like giving me advice on something, and she knows I'm tired, so it's not like it just comes out of nowhere. But we end up having long conversations, and she's like, Jordan, did you fall? I was like, huh? And I'm like, Mom, I am so sorry. We'll catch up tomorrow. I am spent.
Jordan, I'm drawing the ostrich.
Oh, that's gonna be so fun.
Oh my God, this is so funny. They're so weird looking. They're like little aliens.
I always kind of like the look of ostriches. They're just fun and bright and pink and all that.
You're talking about flamingos.
Flamingos? Oh, ostriches kind of have a little bit of pinkness to them in the neck.
I guess they have a little. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, I know flamingos are like bright pink, but I don't know. There's something about ostriches, like when I look at their necks, it just look like, you know, when someone blows up in like Looney Tunes or something like that, like a cartoon.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think of. It cracks me up somehow. It's just really funny.
When somebody blows up.
It's funny. That if anyone wants to know how to make you feel better at any given moment, just put on Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry, like the old school ones, and we're good. Or Avatar.
Trying to think of what makes me laugh no matter what. It's probably, well, I guess for me, it's like a list of 80s movies that just are funny no matter what. Like Coming to America. Okay, I could watch that movie and it's funny every single time. It does not get less funny.
I agree wholeheartedly. That, yeah. Coming to America, any Eddie Murphy movie from the 80s, really, actually, in my opinion. Beverly Hills Cop is definitely up there for me. And I just watched that a couple months ago, and oh man, so many great memories watching that.
Or, you know what, any of those old Steve Martin movies. I don't know if you're into Steve Martin, but he's hilarious.
I've only seen him in like 2 movies, actually, and I'm pretty sure they weren't his best ones, but I enjoyed them.
I think one of his best movies was Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Have you ever seen that?
No, I saw Cheaper by the Dozen. That was the movie I knew.
Oh, I don't think that's one of his better ones, but Dirty Rotten Scoundrels has Michael Caine in it, and I'm not going to say what the ending is, but it's got a great ending, and it's one of those movies, me and my kids, we just watch it over and over again because it just never gets old.
Yeah, those are the best movies, the ones that they just bring you right back to the place that you love. Okay. All right, what should I do next? You know, I kind of want to draw a camel. Maybe I'll do the camel.
Ooh, camels are so weird. Mahika says, sometimes animals make me question how weird they can get with their forms and how they function, and then it just spirals down to questioning my existence. That is great. I love it. Well, they are funny looking. I don't know when's the last time you went to a zoo or something, but every time I go to the zoo, I feel like a lot of the animals look fake.
There's a lot of uniqueness to them, I'll say, but there is a certain majesticness that I think they all have, which I can really appreciate. When's the last time I went to? I think I went to a zoo maybe 2 years ago. We actually got to sketch there at school. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, my favorite. I actually saw some red pandas. They were really cute.
Oh, those are so cute. Yeah. Well, so I went to the Salt Lake City Aviary, I think 2 weeks ago. That's where I shot my picture of a blue duck. It was so cute. It had a blue bill. The whole thing wasn't blue. But they had toucans there, and I'd never seen a toucan before. I swear it looked like a toy. Like, it did not look like a natural thing. It was so plastic looking. It was really bizarre. Like, I had trouble processing that was a real animal. It was so weird.
You know, it's funny you say that, because lately I've been working on drawing reptiles and amphibians and stuff. Some of you guys who see my Instagram know that I posted something today. But one of the things that I have to look out for is lizards that are actually lizards and not like clay or a painting or some sort of makeup thing. Because there were a couple I looked at really closely and I was like, that's not even real. It's not even a real animal. Like, why would I draw this? Why is this here?
They're so strange. My daughter had a friend who had a gecko, and it was so bizarre because from a distance it looks like it would be very hard, but when you touched it, it was like very soft. Like it was so surprising. They're such strange animals.
Hmm. Did I ever tell you about the time I became Papa Duck?
No.
I was it was like my last few weeks at RISD, and I was eating lunch with a friend by the canal, and a duck, he had a busted up bill. I don't know what happened to him, but he just came and sat like 2 feet away from me and just sat on my jacket actually. And it was just the cutest thing. He wouldn't leave my side. He just sat there, just chilling. And we got some good pictures of it. It was just awesome. It was like, wow, what do you know? Just little duck just chilling.
Isn't it funny the way they connect with you sometimes? Like my daughter, I once took her to a farm, and there was this little goat that kept following her. Like it wouldn't leave her alone.
Really? That's so cool.
Yeah. She still talks about it.
You know what animal I think is more threatening than it ought to be? Geese.
Oh, they're scary. People don't realize. They're very aggressive.
Oh yeah. There was one time I was on a walk, and there was a pathway. There was like 50 of them all on this pathway, and I was walking on the cement in the middle, and on one side were all the geese, and on the left side where the grass was a huge mud puddle. And I was like, what direction do I go? They're covering all three. And so I walk in the middle, and this one goose just looked at me and just started like squawking at me like I was about to get killed or something. And oh man, scary guy.
Well, if you look up a picture of their teeth, you'll see why they're so scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to mess with those guys. I'm good.
Katya says, Jordan, don't you dare think that this is a stream where we don't mention you doing wet charcoal. You guys are so horrible.
What is this about, guys?
Jordan.
What is this about? I'm trying to understand. I've dealt with wet charcoal before. I did it in Clara's class, and my time is come to an end. I do different work now. My mind is in a different space, and it was torture. That's also that part of it.
Mike says, geese are modern T-Rexes. Swans are even scarier. Oh, they are. They're strong birds. I mean, they're big.
Better hope you don't walk past one of the young ones either.
Mike says, can you remind us what book you are using for reference photos? Yes. So the book is called Animals in Motion, and it's by Edward Newbridge. And if you flip through it, you'll see that it's just pictures and pictures of animals moving around. And actually, half the book is horses, but there's a lot of other funky things like camels and stuff that we're talking about. And actually, Jordan, I was wondering, because the images in this book, they're not super high resolution. Mm-hmm. The images are pretty small. Do you find that that's an issue for you, or are you dealing with it? Like, because some people might look at this and go, oh, I can't use these. They don't have enough detail.
I guess it depends what the purpose is. If you're just trying to practice the animal, then I think this is good just to understand, what they look like from as they're walking or something. But I actually find it really beneficial when I can get reference in all different positions, like what they look like from a 3/4 front view. What if they're kind of crouching on the floor, or what if they're reaching up high to, eat some sort of plant? Like I really like drawing those types of poses. It just adds interest for me.
Yeah, that's what's cool about, if you look at the plates, they have images. Like I was just doing the ostrich from front, from the side, from the back. And that's sometimes not easy to find if you Google ostrich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why Pinterest is your best friend, guys. Pinterest is great for that sort of stuff. Yeah, honestly, I just like to get as much reference as possible because, like I said before, there's no way I know what every animal looks like, especially ones I've never seen in person. So, like, I've never seen a camel in person. So, yeah.
I feel like I maybe have seen a camel before. Maybe at a fair.
Yeah. I've seen plenty of horses. I've ridden on horses. Although the funniest thing to me is when they show up randomly in the city. There have been times where I've seen like officers riding horses and at a stoplight. And like, huh, you'd think that they'd upgrade, but I guess not.
Guess not.
Yeah.
Although somebody told me that riding a hearse hurts your butt.
It does. It does. It's very bony. They're very bony.
Well, it's just, you don't think about that when you're watching a Jane Austen movie and Michael Fassbender is on a horse. Like, you don't think about your butt hurting, you know?
Oh yeah, but it's painful. I used to go on little camp retreats and stuff, and one of the activities would be horse riding, and we only got to do walking. They wouldn't let us run with it or anything, but the way their body moves is kind of it shifts so much, and you're basically sitting on their spine, and it can be very uncomfortable even with the saddle.
J.R. Grimm says, I love animals. They remind me how weird and beautiful the world can be. I know, it's sometimes funny because obviously there's a billion sci-fi movies with all these crazy creatures. And I'm like, dude, look at what we have on the planet. Like, just look under the ocean. There's so many weird things.
Well, I can kind of speak to that, actually. Most of the time, concept artists will take direct inspiration from animals that already exist, and they combine them together. That's how they create that stuff. Like, they'll take a weird sea creature that no one knows about, and maybe, put a dinosaur's legs on it, and then, add a couple other details, and then cool design. That's how they come up with this sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's like you actually don't have to go that far from nature in order to create something that feels so fantastical.
Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, there's an artist named Tara Whitlatch who's famous for doing a lot of the creature design in Star Wars, and what she does is she studies other animals, and that's how she's able to come up with all these weird-looking creatures.
Well, and it's so smart too, because oftentimes I'll have students and they'll say, "Oh, I want to draw a dragon, but there's no such thing as a dragon. There's no reference, so I guess I just have to make it up." And I'm like, go look at a lizard. Look at a gecko. I mean, they have all kinds of scales that you can just mine from for reference.
Right. Yep. Anytime I'm designing something, I have to use reference from real life, and if it doesn't work for what I'm trying to do, just find something that gives you inspiration and can fit with the general vibe that you're going for.
For sure. I mean, that's really, you just need a starting point, right? And then you can fill in the rest.
Yep, exactly. It's actually, people make it more difficult than it really needs to be, to be honest. It doesn't have to be that complex, but
Well, so what I would do if I was trying to do a character, I might take, say, the pose of the camel I'm drawing right now, but then I could find a photo of a camel with more detail and add the fur on top. So this book isn't great in terms of hyper detail, but in terms of like capturing a pose right in the middle, it's awesome because a lot of photos of horses are not mid-trot, right?
Right. That's tough. Like, there are just certain things that photo reference is best for. And on the other side of things, like, even if you are drawing from life, you can't control when these animals move. Like if you're ever sketching at a zoo and let's say you're drawing a rhino and you're like, all right, I'm about 4 minutes in, he's good. All I need to do is this last detail on the face, and then he just turns around so you see his back. It's like, come on.
You know what I'm noticing about the camel? The tummy, it like really goes up towards the hind legs. Isn't that strange? Like the angle of it's so bizarre.
Yeah, I actually just looked it up on my iPad and I started seeing how the neck is shape is different from the body and how it goes straight up like that. I'm like, huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, the neck is weird, isn't it?
Say it again.
The neck is so weird and curly.
Yeah, It's bizarre. I don't even understand it fully, but yeah. This is one of those drawings. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if this is working.
Well, actually, with the camel, because it's so weird, I'm doing shorter drawings so I can see the anatomy better. Because some of the other animals, they're more familiar, but this one's just really foreign in terms of shape.
Yeah, this is a bizarre one. I'll try one more, and then I'll move on to something else.
Alice is saying, what's an animal you would love to see in person? For me, it's a shoebill. Those things look prehistoric. Is that a bird? I think it's a bird.
Animal I like to see in person. I don't know. I have to think about
Does it count if I've already seen it in person?
Another good one.
Because it's definitely a giant panda.
Oh, pandas are cool. Pandas are cool.
Oh my gosh, because we went to the National Zoo in Washington. The whole park is about pandas. There's like panda stuff everywhere. And we were really sad because the panda wasn't out when we went. And then like right when we were about to leave, he came out and was like rolling around. Oh my God, I just like died. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know what animal I would choose. I like big cats though. I like lions and tigers and stuff like that. Those guys are really cool. But I feel like I think I've seen them before. I know I've definitely seen a tiger, but yeah, I don't know.
They're kind of boring though. They just sit there. At least the ones I've seen at the zoo, they don't really do very much.
Well, yeah, I would be bored too if I was. If I was used to hunting, and now I'm stuck in this little 10-foot by 20-foot box for people to look at me.
Katya says, these live streams are really good motivation. I haven't even picked up a pencil today until this started. Thank you so much. It's good motivation for us. I mean, Jordan, you were telling me before that you wanted to brush up on your animal skills, right?
Oh yeah, I never really spent that much time really drawing animals, and when I found out we were getting ready for the stream, I was like, man, I gotta fix that. So that's when I started drawing all the lizards and reptiles and stuff, and I want to do that with these because I'm realizing how much I need work with different mammals. So yeah, it's really good for me.
I mean, do you feel like if you could name any weakness you have with animals, that you have one that's very particular, or are they just all so different? It's hard to narrow that down.
I just don't know the anatomy that well. I feel like once I get a handle on what's underneath the skin, I usually.
Sorry, I spilled water. Keep talking. I just spilled a big thing of water.
Okay. Yeah, I just feel like once I understand everything that goes on underneath the skin, it's much easier for me to comprehend, because otherwise it gets too overwhelming for me. And being overwhelmed and doing art at the same time is not a good combination for me. So that's what I think would be an area of weakness, or like the core of the weakness.
I think my problem is I have trouble reconciling texture with animals, like if they have a lot of fur or if they have a lot of scales. Like I find that very hard.
Yeah, like this camel, I really had to look up like how the hump even looks, and like how that connects to like any bones or muscles and stuff, and it's just weird. It's just a strange growth from what I'm seeing right now. So like, okay.
This is a good animal story from Elizabeth. I helped a friend by feeding her menagerie. She has rescued peacocks, chickens, and geese. Scary. They even chased me, even though I carried a rake. One bit me on the butt. Ouch.
Oh no.
Yikes.
That does not sound okay. I'd be mad. I'd be so bad.
Natal says, Clara, could you explain while you hold the pencil the way you do. Sometimes it seems you grip it. Thanks. Nice to see your videos. Think I hold my pencil really weird. And you know what's funny, Jordan? I don't hold chopsticks correctly either.
Really? Wait, how do you do
I
it?
don't. I hold them so wrong. Like they're not correct the way I hold them.
You know, with chopsticks, I feel like as long as I can actually eat, it doesn't matter to me.
Well, that's what I think. I'm like, as long as it gets to my mouth, who cares how it gets there?
Right. Now you got me second guessing myself. I thought I knew the right way, but maybe I don't.
Well, here, let me see if I can show all of you how I hold my chopsticks. So technically, I think you're supposed to hold them like this.
Uh-huh.
Right? Okay, but I hold them like this.
Oh, whoa.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. That's a little much for me.
So it's sort of like this. Like if these are my chopsticks, okay, and I want to pick them up, I just do this. Like that.
Huh.
Whereas I think you're supposed to do it like I can't do it like that.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, that's not the way I do it, but hey, if you can eat that way, then who am I to tell you that you're wrong?
Exactly. It's
like
just funny because my daughter is very, like, my older one, she's very much into like the way things are supposed to be done, and she's always bothering me about how I hold it wrong.
She's like, Mom, this is embarrassing.
Well, she's funny. She's so different than me. She wants everything to be correct. Like, she wants to know the appropriate way to do things. And I'm like, hey, it works. Let's just do it like this.
I could understand that. That's pretty funny.
And Kath says, I bet Clara wouldn't mind the butt pain as long as she gets to ride with Michael Fassbender. Oh, I will do anything for a horse ride with Mr. Rochester. Oh. Elizabeth says, Clara, I've noticed a bunch of people who hold pencils like you. Some mentioned that in school, teachers tried to correct them. Oh my gosh, that happened to me. Did you ever have that happen, Jordan?
Where someone tried to correct the way I held a pencil?
Yeah.
If I was using something like charcoal. No, seriously though. Like, because it's like compressed charcoal, you know, like you have to hold it differently than a regular pencil. So that would be a time where it was adjusted. But if it's a regular pencil, nah.
Wait, did that happen in art school? Did a professor tell you you held it the wrong way?
A pencil or like compressed charcoal?
Compressed charcoal.
I think that probably, but I don't think it was framed that way. It was more like, this is how you get the most effective mark with your your tool. I think it was more like that.
Because I had these wire frames that would go under your hand. So I was told this was the correct way to hold a pencil, which is not like, I hold it like this. And so this was very strange for me. And they had this wire thing, and I had to like write with the wire thing. It was so messed up. Like, I cannot believe they did that.
You know what's weird, Clara? For me, like, I can switch my pencil grip and be fine either way. It just depends on if my hand hurts or not. Like, there are times where like my hand is cramping. I go like, all right, I gotta switch the pose. Or sometimes maybe like my hand is a little sway and I can't get a grip when it's like this. So I'll switch it to like the way you draw, and it works fine for me.
I'm so particular about my hand grip, and my other hand, my left hand, is useless. It's like a lump. It doesn't do anything.
Well, I don't think you're alone. Most people have a left hand doesn't do a whole lot for art for them. I don't have a choice being left-handed, so.
Ariel is asking, do you have any art prof videos about ergonomic drawing? We do not. We'd probably have to hire somebody because, I don't know. Do you know how to do that?
Ergonomic drawing? Like, there are tips that I can give. I don't know if it's enough for a whole stream, but there's definitely some things I know about drawing properly and exercises to, stretch your hand out and things like that. I actually bought a book on it. It's on my shelf behind me.
Oh, you do know about it. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's like a 45-minute or an hour stream. That's the only thing. Like I could sum it up pretty quickly, I feel like.
Oh, this is terrible. Jazz says, my grandma was left-handed and they forced her to write right-handed in school. That's terrible.
I've heard about stuff like that happening.
What's the difference? Like, who cares? If you can write, then it doesn't matter.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but that's not the first time I've heard a story like that. I have some friends and stuff who said something similar happened to them. But, it is what it is.
Well, did I tell you my mom said that in Taiwan when she was growing up, that in school, for every point you missed on the test, you would get hit with a ruler.
Oh, that's awful.
So if you get an 80 on the test, you get hit 20 times.
Yeah, that's way too much. I don't think that's okay.
Oh my gosh. I mean, she says that she still has nightmares about it.
I bet. That's traumatizing.
I know.
It didn't even happen to me, and that's freaking me out.
Actually, do you like Roald Dahl, the writer?
I've only read like one or two of his books.
So he wrote this memoir called Boy, where he writes about going to this British boarding, I think it was British, somewhere in Europe, boarding school. And oh my gosh, the stories that he writes, he said that the older boys would bully the younger boys, and the younger boys had to go warm the toilet seat for the older boys. I'm like, what? Like, you cannot make this stuff up.
What? That's just weird. That's just really weird. Like,
weird.
How do you make a request like that and not sound stupid?
Don't know, Jordan.
That's odd.
Ariel says, my great-grandma was also forced to write right-handed. The left hand was considered evil. My husband is a lefty and knows all sorts of trivia about it. Really? That's so bizarre. So Blue Wolf explains left-handed is considered, quote, sinister. The nuns back in the old days would smack your knuckles with a ruler. Yikes. I'm so glad I wasn't born back then.
Yes. You know what I find interesting? One time I was reading in the Bible, in the book of Judges, and it counts specifically all the soldiers that were left-handed because they had to, the way they attacked was very different than the average person. So they had a special advantage over them, over their enemies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because if you think about it, like if you're so used to defending and fighting someone who's right-handed and that's their strong arm, then you'll be used to it, defending yourself that way. But when someone suddenly switches on you, then it causes them to have a moment of pause and go like, oh, I got to readjust. I have to figure out how to do that. So that would be like, there's like a secret weapon in a way, the fact that they're left-handed.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny because the first time we saw your hand on screen for that 2500 challenge stream, everybody was like, oh my God, Jordan's left-handed. Whoa. This whole revelation.
Yeah, I never thought that. I just kind of forgot that you guys never actually saw my hand draw it. So yeah, I've been lefty since I was born. No one told me to switch from right hand to left hand. But apparently, according to my mom, she says that when I was in kindergarten and I would get like little progress reports, apparently I was ambidextrous and I wrote with both hands equally well. And I guess I just preferred the left hand or something. But weird. Yeah, I don't remember that, but I wish I still had that ability.
Oh, this is awesome. Wriggle says, I used to be a fencer. It was always so difficult to match up with a left-handed person. That's so funny.
Maybe I need to take
that. This makes me think about Princess Bride And Inigo Montoya, he's like, oh, well, should I fight him left-handed? Well, if I use my dominant hand, it's going to be over too quickly.
Man, this makes you want to take up sword fighting or something. Not that that would be super useful in 2021, but I could trick some people, you know?
You could.
Like, can't mess with me.
Oh, yeah, because later on, Wesley says, I'm not left-handed either. And he changed. I forgot. I haven't seen that movie in so long.
You said this is Princess Bride?
Yeah, Princess Bride.
I don't know if I've seen the whole thing.
Jordan.
Well,
how can you say that?
Well, when I was a kid, and we would have rainy days at school, someone would bring a movie in, and we got to sit and watch the movie at lunch. And we only had like 35 minutes for lunch, so we never sat through the whole movie. And I also, realistically, at 6 and 7 years old, would not have chosen a movie called The Princess Bride to watch. That just would not have crossed my mind. I'm like, no, give me Bruce Lee, give me some Toy Story, some Monsters Inc. Like that's kind of, it didn't sound like an appealing movie for me, so I never watched it.
All right, I understand that it's not exactly so hip sounding.
Yeah,
it's just I tried to show it to my kids. I mean, I have that movie like memorized. I've seen it so many times. And they didn't like it, and my heart was like broken.
Oh, that's the worst when that happens. I was trying to show my friends a Will Smith movie, and something like that happened.
Jordan, what are you going to do if you have kids someday and you show them Into the Spider-Verse and they're not impressed? Are you just going to cry?
I'll put them up for adoption. No, I'm just kidding. No. First of all, that's just not going to be allowed in my household. I'm not going to run my household like that. Like, no, child. You will like Spider-Man Into the Spider.
Oh, what if your kid just doesn't like Spider-Man?
When you say doesn't like, do you mean as in not their favorite superhero, or just doesn't like them, period?
Just doesn't like him, period.
Then, ooh. Why would you speak of such evil things, Clara? I don't understand. What is this about?
I'm just getting ready, Jordan, okay? Because, yeah.
You know, if that happens, which I doubt it will, because I don't know many people who don't like Spider-Man, kid, adult, doesn't matter, then I guess I'd be getting a taste of my own medicine. Because when I was younger, my dad really wanted me to play football because that's what he did.
Oh.
And I, to this day, I don't even like sports that much, let alone football. And he was so disappointed because I was carrying that legacy. And I was like, nope, I do not want to do. I want to draw. That's all I do. So it would be a cruel sense of irony. What would really be interesting if I had a kid who liked football, and wanted to play it. That would be the ultimate thing.
Sodre says, I'm Brazilian. I'm 17 years old, study visual communication like design together in my high school. I discovered your channel because of the Gouache Tips video. Sorry for the bad English. I think your English is pretty good. I mean, it's way better than my Portuguese.
Yeah, you're fine, Sodre. You're good.
Well, we've been doing those voice sessions for Patreon supporters and also in the stage sessions, which are open to everybody. You don't have to be a Patreon supporter. And so many people come in and they apologize for the English. And I'm like, I love hearing the different ways that people speak English. And I love hearing the accents. I just think it's so cool. Oh,
yeah. It's a lot of fun. And I actually, I had a friend who was from France, and she barely knew any English when I first met her. A year later, she was practically fluent. So it's always really impressive to me when someone speaks more than one language, and because I can't do that. It's just I never got past it. Languages is tough for me.
Well, I think you have to be around people that don't speak English, because if you are around people that speak English, you can just fall into English, you know?
Yeah.
And also just living in the country. makes a huge difference because you get all these visual cues that you can't have if you're just like watching the news or something.
Hmm. Yeah, I've heard a tip is to start watching movies and shows in different languages, but I've never gotten around to doing that.
Well, my daughter is really into Japanese. Like she's basically teaching it to herself. And she's so funny because she's like, oh, and I watch these vloggers in Japanese and they're teaching me about Japanese culture and they speak casually. Like every time we go out, she's talking to me about Japanese grammar. She's like, look at the radical of this structure. I'm like, I don't know how you are my child.
When I first got to college, I wanted to learn how to speak Korean really badly, actually,
Oh, really? Why?
because that's where a lot of the animation studios are. And so I was like, I could be the point person. I could go overseas and talk to all the animators because a lot of them know how to speak English. But if I learn how to speak Korean, I'll be that much more valuable. So I only learned like three things, but I really wanted to do it.
Actually, I had a friend in grad school who was from Korea, and he said that when you meet somebody to speak to them in Korean, that you have to ask them how old they are in order to figure out who's older, to figure out how to speak to them, because there's different ways to speak based on the age. Isn't that weird?
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. Like there's a like the word hello. There's a formal way to say it, and then an informal way for I guess younger people. So yeah, it's fascinating.
It's just funny because in the US, asking somebody how old they are is considered to be a little rude. And it's like, it's so weird that that's something they just do regularly.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. I don't know how many people would get away with not getting chastised if they were to do that. How dare you
Well,
ask my
actually, you know what my mom used to do all the time? She used to see, so my friends would come over and she would say to them, "Oh, you look like you gained weight," which in America, you don't say that. It's like so
uh,
rude, but it's like in Asian culture, basically what you're saying is, "Oh, you look so healthy." But my friends didn't take it that way.
wow, man, those cultural differences are deep.
They are. I mean, sometimes they're just like blatant opposite.
That's so funny. Yeah, I was reading something one time, and it was talking about the different way you treat food when you're at a restaurant. Like in some cultures, if you eat all the food, that's considered disrespectful because it's insinuating the chef didn't give you enough. And
Oh,
then in some places, you're supposed to leave a little bit of food left to say the chef gave you plenty and you couldn't finish it. And there's like all this stuff in between that too, like from different utensils. And I'm just like, wow, it varies in every country.
so my younger one, she likes to remind me about the time that I got pinned by an 80-year-old Asian woman trying to pay the bill.
Wait, what?
Like, well, so it's in Asian tradition, Chinese, you're supposed to fight over the bill. Like you're not supposed to ever let somebody pay. You're supposed to fight them for it. And
Oh, okay.
I went to go pay this bill because I was at this lunch with my mom and her friend who was like in her 80s. And she like pushed me down, Jordan. Like I was like in a fist fight with her trying to pay this bill. She was
Wow,
stupid.
that's so hilarious. I hope you weren't hurt, but that's really funny.
Cospa says, I heard you're supposed to leave a little on the side of your plate for the spirits, and I can't remember where I heard that from. Oh, that's so funny.
I know. I feel like in some Native American cultures they did that. I went on a camping trip once, and we were supposed to leave food out like underneath a specific tree for the spirits. I forget what the tradition was called, but it might be that, but it could be more as well.
Mana is saying, I'm not really sure what the stage is. Could someone please give me some insight on what it is? Yeah, the stage sessions take place in the Discord. And so you have to be in our Discord first. And if you want to be in, which you should, because that's where the cool kids hang out, Don't you want to be cool? And the invite link to our Discord, it's in the video description below. But it's basically a voice channel. So we all go into the voice. And so let's say Jordan and I are, quote, on the stage. Like he and I are the speakers. And it's like you guys are on the audience. But it's really cool because when you're in the stage channel, you can just listen or you can request to speak. And then you can speak to us on voice. And it's really, really fun because I love hearing voices. And you know what, Jordan? I find the stage sessions easier than typing.
I haven't done one yet, but I do the Patreon chats, and it's so much easier to just say things. And you know, there's a saying that things are never properly conveyed via text, and I think that's true. So.
Oh, there are sometimes it's so many emails. I'm like, dude, we could have figured this out in like 2 minutes in a phone call.
Yeah, that's true too.
Although I do not miss phone tag. I mean, there were people you just would try to catch all the time back in the 80s. And that was a pain. I hated taking messages for people. Oh, that was just the worst. But yeah, sometimes it's a little overkill, the amount of email and text messaging.
Yeah. When there were times where I've had clients and we have like 80 email chain, like a chain of 80 emails sent. And some of them are like 4 or 5 words long. And it's like, you could have called me. My number's right here. You know it.
Well, but Jordan, Lauren told me that your generation hates phone calls.
They do. I prefer phone calls. I actually don't mind talking on the phone, especially, and this is part of the reason why, is because I'm an artist. Because when I can talk and draw at the same time, I feel like it's just much easier versus picking my phone up and texting, and it breaks my groove. So I actually prefer calling.
I love how this is related to being able to draw.
You have no idea how many conversations I've had while doing art, like, or finished like certain pieces. Shoot, half the stuff on my Instagram is like that.
Only you, Jordan, would have that as a story.
No, I'm not the only one. I don't think I am anyway.
Well, and also in the 80s, I feel like such an old fart, you didn't have to text people to make sure they were available for a phone call. You just called them. But now, if you do that, it feels rude. It always feels like you're supposed to text people first.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, to be fair, as far as I know, I wasn't around the 80s, but I'm pretty sure texting wasn't really as much of an option. But
no.
But I've been in that situation where I have to call and like, hey, whenever you're ready, just call me. You know.
So Jordan, my horse ended up with like 6 legs.
He's in motion.
He is in motion. That's it. He's. I'm feeling the motion right now.
There you go.
Although this is cool. There's this one shot here of this horse that's doing this like mega kick up in the air. It's like really awkward looking. Like the stomach is all stretchy and weird.
Trying to figure out what I want to try next. I think I'm gonna try the Chupacabra because I didn't even know what that was.
Chupacabra? It's a capybara.
Whatever. I
thought is Chupacabra like a monster legend thing?
Maybe.
I think it is.
I already see it now. People all over the world are laughing at me like, Jordan's so dumb. He doesn't even know what he's drawing, which happens more often than not. But yeah, that fuzzy animal. That's what I should leave it as. I'm gonna draw the fuzzy one.
Oh shoot! I didn't draw the baboon. Oh, okay. I'm gonna finish up this horse, and then I'll have time for the baboon because the baboon is awesome. I love monkeys.
I just keep thinking of Tarzan and Lion King every time I think about that.
It all comes back to the Lion King, Jordan. I'm sure you could trace any conversation back to the Lion King.
Maybe. I don't know. I
Or
guess
Avatar?
definitely Avatar. Avatar is a definite. Lion King. Well, actually, my favorite Disney movie growing up was Hercules.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I always liked Lion King, but Hercules and Tarzan were my two favorites by far.
I don't think I ever saw Tarzan.
Oh, it's so fun. Um, yeah, Tarzan was great. It ended the Disney Renaissance. It's very different. Like all the songs are very catchy. They're sung by Phil Collins, but it's not a musical. Like no one's actually singing and dancing except for this one scene called "Trash in the Camp." So it feels different, but I like it.
Oh my gosh, this baboon is really weird. It looks fake to me.
What's the name of this animal I'm drawing again?
Capybara.
Capybara. Okay.
I told Jordan that I want him to be on an Italian Renaissance stream so I can hear him say Parmigianino and Sforza.
Someone's shooting fireworks outside my house.
Oh, I was like, what are you doing? Are you like stamping your foot or something?
No, that is a neighbor of mine being very rude. Forgive me, guys. I can't control them. I don't even know where they are.
What are they doing?
Oh, maybe because of Memorial Day.
Oh, that must be it. Okay.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't bother you guys too much. I'm about half a second away from yelling at them, though.
Jazz W says, anyone remember the Hercules cartoons in the early 80s? So awful, they were great. I think I remember that. And I remember the Hercules that I used to watch. It came on at 6, but I really wanted to watch it. So I would wake up on the weekends and watch it.
The only Hercules that's canon to me is the Disney's Hercules. I can't picture any other version. I just can't. It's weird.
Seven Angelic says, no, Jordan, do Chupacabra instead. It will be great.
Thank you for having my back.
Emily says, Jordan, I'm the same way. I've had to train my friends to call me so that I can draw at the same time.
Yep. Always. And I have no shame in it. I tell them like, look, guys, I'm going to do art. So if you want, either you want to have a conversation with me as I draw, or you don't want to have a conversation at all. That's basically your options.
Also, this baboon has very strange fur. The fur is sort of uneven. No, it's hard to describe. I don't know. And the tail is so wonky. Like it looks like a banana.
I don't know much about baboons. I didn't get a chance to draw one yet, so maybe I'll do that one next after this animal, the capybara.
Capybara. Oh my
Capybara.
God, I'm going to have to like write it on your forehead.
I was this close. It was just the Y sound that I didn't get. Capybara.
You see, we teach each other things at Art Prof. I like how half the time before we start the stream, Lauren's like, what's that? I'm like, oh, here's what it is. And then on the stream, she's like, yeah, I just learned what this was 5 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah. I'm super transparent about stuff like that, too. I'm like, yeah, this happened right before. I think I said like 3 times in the stream I didn't know what this animal was before the stream started.
Yeah, we were doing this animation stream. Well, it wasn't a stream. It was an edited video with Deepti. And we had gone to the grocery store to buy some vegetables. And she's like shooting the video. And in the middle, she's like, I'm going to carve this. What is this thing called? Like she had no idea what the vegetable was called.
See, we all gotta learn stuff. Ooh. I think I know what I want to draw now. I'm not doing the baboon anymore. Since we were talking about the Lion King, I think I'm gonna go for this lion.
Oh yeah. Ivan says, Whoa, I'm rendering a leopard right now. So glad you guys are doing this. Oh, cool. I don't know. I also think animals, I'm not saying that they're easy to draw, but they don't invite as much scrutiny as a picture of a person.
I think because we're not as used to seeing some of these very exotic animals. Like, I don't know the last time I saw a lion walking down the street. Let's just say that. You know? But if you watch Coming to America, they walk down the street all the time. It's pretty awesome.
Actually, when I think about lions in movies, all I can think about is that Gladiator movie with Russell Crowe where he's like wrestling lions and tigers in the Roman arena.
Oh, man. Yeah, that sounds intense. I wouldn't want to do that.
Oh, that makes me want to watch that movie. I love the Roman Empire. I bet it was a terrible time to be alive, but it's just so cool.
I wouldn't want to live in that time either. It sounded like it sucked.
Well, isn't that the time period where living till you're 25 is considered old?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe 25, maybe more like 30 or 35. But yeah, people's life expectancy was pretty bad.
And I think it was one of those things where, like, if you weren't royalty, you were living a terrible life.
Mm-hmm. Yep, heavily taxed as well. Yeah, didn't sound like fun.
Well, just picture this. Like, imagine the level of dental care that they had in ancient Rome. Just picture that. Like, that's enough for me to say, nah, I'm good.
I've literally never thought about that. Dental care in ancient Rome.
Or think about this. So, like, I have really bad eyesight, so I wear contacts. Like, if I was in the Middle Ages, would I just be, like, blind almost?
Probably. Yeah, that would suck.
Yep. Jazz says, and you had to have 20 children just so a couple would make it to adulthood. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Prenatal care was probably not that great in Rome. Though Emily says the issue is you were just as likely or more to be a slave or non-citizen in the Roman Empire. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I'm going to have to watch Gladiator tonight because Starving Artist says it's one of their favorite movies.
I feel like we always get into like a movie conversation, then we go like we have to watch it right after the stream. You know, well, like there's too many good things.
Although, you know something, I was doing the stamps and labels for the Patreon reward. It's where you get snail mail art for me. It's cool. It's like snail mail art, and it's not a bill. It's actually fun snail mail. And I was like, okay, this is kind of boring. I'm going to put on Jane Eyre. That's going to make everything go well.
You know, I was at the gym yesterday, and I walked in. Guess what movie was playing on the treadmills?
Spider-Verse?
Yes.
What? Oh my god.
Yep. I went over there and it was in the middle of the movie. It was an action scene. And I was like, heck yeah, go Miles, go. And it was great. And then today I went back and then it was Spider-Man Homecoming. And
what?
Yeah, I was like, what is this Spider-Man marathon going on? This is amazing. This never happens.
Somebody there likes you, Jordan.
Yeah. Or they just were playing on TV and I just happened to get a good look at this thing.
Katya says, question, I finally finished my mountains from the mountain stream. Took a while. Can I post that in the art alongs channel or only animal drawings? Oh yeah, absolutely. If any of you create artwork from a past art along, we love it when you all post it in the art alongs channel. I mean, there are people that go back and do like the really old streams and it's super fun because I think it inspires other people to make more work. So yeah, we'd love to see that. Maria says, people bathed once a year, the whole family using the same water by the last person. It was like a sewer. Okay, I'm good. I'm good with the century.
Ew. That sounds foul.
Yeah, Kath says, best thing about modern living is plumbing and air conditioning. I have to agree with that.
That's a good list. That's solid.
It's awesome. We would love it for all of you to join Jordan and I. In the Art Prof Discord, we will be in the Art Alongs channel. The invite link is in the YouTube video description below. Subscribe to our channel, like a video, leave a comment, help us out with those YouTube gods. And we want to give a big thank you to our top Patreon supporters who help us out keeping Art Prof up and running, and also to all of you. I mean, I think I would be very sad, Jordan, if there were just 2 people like it was 3 years ago, and we were like, woohoo, 10 people are watching.
That was a tough time. It was tough.
We've come a long way. So everybody, Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.